Astronomers have made an unexpected discovery using the James Webb Space Telescope. It spotted 6 massive galaxies that existed between 500 million and 700 million years after the Big Bang that created the universe.
Given that it is the largest body in the solar system, this enormous ball of atomic fire holds a commanding position in the sky. On our planet, it is not possible to travel for a significant amount of time without coming into contact with the rising sun. The sun isn't that enormous for a strange fact. It's about average in size, yet it dwarfs anything nearby. The sun appears enormous from our vantage point. However, it does not appear to be as large when viewed from the outer reaches of our galaxy. So are there any larger stars in existence? Absolutely. Our sun is a yellow dwarf, which is a little smaller than the normal star in size. The big stars make our sun appear insignificant. The question that needs to be answered is, with regard to the cosmos, what is the largest star that has ever been discovered? And how much larger and more terrifying can they actually get? Would you like to find out? A significant amount of focus is placed on our sun in terms of the stars that he has received. It seems almost as if life on Earth revolves around it, and from our vantage point, at least it dwarfs the other stars in the sky. The sun looks to be smaller when viewed from the farthest reaches of our galaxy, but in reality, its size is rather typical. All right, let's begin by discussing stars. Some stars are significantly larger than others, and there are a great number of distinct types of stars. Before we move on to the following topic, however, it is imperative that you comprehend the fact that stars do not possess borders that are unambiguously delineated. They are not like rocky planets or moons in that they do not have a stationary surface. Instead, the superheated mass of gas that constitutes these atomic fireballs progressively thins out into nothingness, leaving them with a surface that is slightly dispersed. This is the mechanism by which these fireballs are created. Astronomers utilize the photosphere of every star, which is the point at which the star becomes transparent and is what they use in place of a surface, which is the point at which photons are able to escape the star as a substitute for the surface. Consequently, from this point forward, you ought to be aware that when we talk about the surface of a star, we are actually referring to the photosphere, which is the component that is considered to be the second most significant. During this conversation, it is essential to keep in mind that humans have never directly measured a star. This is a fact that makes this discussion more meaningful. However, we do have estimations, the most of which are accurate, but guesses nonetheless. There was no one who went up to one with a ruler and began counting up distances. However, we do have estimates. Based on a variety of criteria, such as the distance between stars or between them and Earth, or the structures that surround them. These calculations can be more or less accurate and complete within a narrower or greater area of confidence. This level of accuracy and completeness can vary from one estimate to the next. As an illustration, we are aware that its width could be anywhere between x and miles or km. This includes some of the following parameters. One of the things that you might remember studying in a science lesson when you were in school is that the sun is not a planet, but rather a star. When you are standing outside during the day and looking up, the sun might give the impression of being very large. It is possible to draw the conclusion that it is the largest star in the galaxy. However, the fact that Hiscot is hundreds of times larger than the sun makes it appear to be larger. This is due, in part, to the fact that it is located so close to the Earth. Despite the fact that it is a massive star, the sun is not even close to being the largest star available in the universe. What is the name of the star that has been detected to be the largest in the universe? According to Phil Massey, an astronomer at the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, the answer is contingent upon whether you are referring to the mass of a star, its entire volume, or the amount of space that it occupies. As far as size is concerned, heavier stars are generally unimpressive, whereas the most massive stars are frequently faint stars. This is due to the fact that older stars have a tendency to expand and lose mass, which causes the tallest stars to deteriorate in appearance. They might not be the heaviest of the bunch. When you assume that you are talking about mass, you should relate it to humanity, according to Massey, who added that It may be found in the massive Magellanic Cloud Satiny galaxy that revolves around the Milky Way and the star 136. A 1 is the one that holds the record for the galaxy in that particular location. Imagine a cherry placed next to a large yoga ball that is more than 200 times larger than the cherry. When measured in terms of its diameter, this star is somewhere between 30 and 40 times larger than our Sun. According to estimates, it is around 160,000 light-years away from Earth. There is a significant difference between the longevity of our Sun, which has been around for 4.5 billion years, and the lifespan of this star, which is barely 1 million years. In addition to this, it has not undergone any cooling or expansion, and there are a number of potential possibilities for this star. As far as the definition of the largest star in the universe is concerned, UY Scuti is at the very top of the list of stars that have the largest diameters in the entire universe. It was originally observed in the year 1860 by astronomers working at the Bonn Observatory in Germany, who subsequently designated it with the designation B125055. Following the conclusion of the war, measurements were taken, which revealed that the brightness and magnitude of B125055 had altered over the duration of 740 days. This led to the conclusion that the star is capable of undergoing changes. This particular red Hypergean star has a diameter that is approximately 1,700 times greater than that of the bright Sun. Don't forget that supergiant stars are even bigger than giant stars, and Hypergean stars are even bigger than gigantic stars. Hypergeans are extremely rare and have lives that are simply breathtaking. Despite the fact that they are extremely large, they also experience a larger loss of mass than other people. In the event that UY Scuti were to assume the role of the Sun as the major star of our solar system, it would generate a greater quantity of stellar winds than its smaller counterparts do. An estimate of the size of the photosphere can be obtained by taking into consideration the fact that it would extend beyond the orbit of Jupiter. There are 484 million miles, or 779 multi-kilometers, that divide Jupiter and the Sun. This distance is similar to the distance between the Sun and Jupiter. It is estimated that a nebula of 400 AU in length would be formed if gas were to originate from the star. The distance between the Earth and the Sun is measured in astronomical units, which are abbreviated as AU. A significant distance beyond Pluto's orbit would be covered by this endeavor. There is an average distance of 39.5 astronomical units, AU, per orbit between Pluto and the Sun. If the Sun were a cherry, it would be a spherical thing that is 10 floors tall. Yet the diameter of the Sun is not even close to being able to be measured. A persistent presence in stars is the existence of uncertainty. The distance between his Scuti and Earth is approximately 9,500 light-years, which is equivalent to 1,000 light-years traveling in the opposite direction. When observed from a closer distance, the brightest stars appear to be brighter, and when observed from a longer distance, they appear to be darker. In order for astronomers to successfully execute this work, they need to have knowledge on the amount of light that the star emits. Having said that, when you take into consideration the fact that red Hypergeans with such characteristics as the scotia that you wear are normally changeable, which means that their brightness does change over the course of time like any other thing. The nature of the variable as a consequence of fluctuations in brightness. The diameters of stars are in a state of continual change. The radius of Scuti, for example, may be up to 192 solar radii greater or smaller than what was previously assumed, according to the findings of a study. If the value considered to be the lowest feasible value is accurate, then other stars would be around 30 times larger than Scuti, which is the minimum size that is anticipated to be there. It is well known that red Hypergeans are notoriously difficult to model due to the enormous messiness of their bodies. The surfaces are always moving, according to Massey. On the other hand, WOG 64 could be the largest star in the universe if it weren't for the fact that it is approximately 170,000 light-years away from Earth. WOG 64, which has a radius of between 1504 and 1730 solar radii, is a red Hypergean that is located in the large Magellanic Cloud in the constellation Dorado in the skies of the southern hemisphere. The brightness of this star varies over time, in part because of the fact that it is located in the constellation Dorado. This is most likely due to the fact that a dust cloud in the shape of a torus, which blocks out some of the starlight, is responsible for the formation of the torus. However, as it got closer to becoming a supernova, it started to lose mass. Astronomers have estimated that it has lost material that is comparable to between 3 and 9 solar systems. This information comes from their observations. In addition, there is a star known as UY Canis Mahoricius, which has been around for 8.2 million years and was first thought to be anywhere between 1800 and 2200 solar radii in length. The location of the red star can be found in the very center of the galaxy. Since that time, the hypergent star UY Canis Majors has been estimated to have a radius that falls somewhere between 1300 and 1540 solar radii since it was first discovered. It is estimated that the diameters of UY 64 and UY Canis Majors are approximately 1500 times greater than that of the Sun. In addition, because of the ambiguity, either one of them could be larger than Discus, and regardless of the outcome, it is very cool to have all of them for myself. If any of these stars were to assume the place of our Sun at the center of our solar system, then the inner planets, including Jupiter, would be devoured out of existence. This would eliminate the possibility of life on Earth. It would have been impossible for Massey to have been more wrong in his prediction that the Earth and the inner planets would be destroyed into nothingness. It is possible that those who are familiar with the classic movie Betelgeuse would recall that Michael Keaton's real name was Betelgeuse. It is also possible that they will recall that the same name is associated with one of the most prominent stars in the universe. Through the use of a telescope, one is able to observe this star, which is visible every year during the month of October. Additionally, the star can be observed until the month of May comes to a close. Due to the fact that it is located at a distance of less than 700 light-years from Earth, it is the stellar supergent that is the nearest to our planet, which has a radius ranging from 950 to 1200 solar radii, is something that may be found within the constellation. One of the constellations in the sky is Orion, which is the 9th brightest star in the sky. The star known as Betelgeuse, which is one of the most well-known stars of its kind, is on the verge of going supernova and is expected to do so at any minute. In spite of this, our Sun is still the greatest star in the cosmos, and it is not the tiniest star in the universe, even if it does not go supernova. The known star known as Naunable Mu 5557 AB, which has been successful in achieving this distinction, is substantially smaller than Saturn. It is able to be categorized as a star, as stated by the conclusions of the specialists. Should it possess a lower mass, it would be classified as a failed star, which is also referred to as a brown dwarf. This is due to the fact that it would be incapable of supporting nuclear fusion at its core. Simply said, these stars are those that are located in the vicinity of our local cosmic neighborhoods. Obviously, the universe is a very large place. Massey made the observation that we are unable to determine the size of stars that are located on the opposite side of the Milky Way, let alone those that are located in the far reaches of the universe. He stated that there is an excessive amount of dust and that there is an excessive amount of interference with light. Keep in mind that because stars are balls of extremely hot plasma, they do not have a linear relationship between weight and size. This is in contrast to cannonballs, which have a linear relationship between weight and size, with the larger shell being plainly heavier. Remarkably, our 136, a 1 is just around 30 solar radii in size, but it has a mass that is 300 times greater than that of the Sun, despite the fact that it is significantly larger. According to the extraordinarily high surface enhancement of heavy elements, which are dense and hydrogen depletion inner 136A1, Hiscott's mass, which is light, can be explained by the fact that it is only 30 times more massive than the Sun. This is the rationale behind Hiscott's mass. It is vital to keep in mind that the size of stars can change over the period of several billion years. This is because the most typical reason of this size shift is the star's transition into or achievement of the status of a supernova. As a result, it is important to keep in mind that the size of stars can continue to change over time. A star that has suffered an explosion that causes it to shed a considerable amount of mass is considered to be a supernova, according to the definition provided by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration that is used by NASA. This is due to the fact that a star that is dying releases its mass into the universe and compels it to remain there. There is a possibility that some of this mass will be taken up by other stars, which will contribute to the expansion of those stars. Researchers from NASA and other scientific institutions have worked together to compile a list of stars that are on the approach of being extinct. You have the option of purchasing either a professional or a base model, which will let you to observe the constellations and stars, including Orion and the famous Big Dipper. If you live in close proximity to an observatory, you also have the opportunity to take a tour and view the stars through a larger telescope. I would want to express my gratitude to you for viewing yet another episode of Voyager while remaining in this location. It is imperative that you click on the video that is now playing on your screen if you are interested in viewing other stunning videos depicting space. For more space exploring videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon.